Let us review forceful practice instructions and then meditate like a Jedi. I'd like to begin by reading from Original Perfection, Vairotsana's 5 Early Transmissions, translation by Keith Doman. It's not perfect, but it's very good, and you can probably find it online for a nominal fee. I make no commission. I'd like to read from the first passage of Pure Golden Ore. Luminous mind is the light of the Buddhas and the heart of all things. Luminous mind. Conventionally, mind is luminous because it is aware. What is mind aware of? Mind is aware of perceptions, sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Ultimately, mind is as non-graspable as light. Mind and all that it does and all that it notices. As we relax into our exhalation, all that we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel fleetingly less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and less solid. It could feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Now, any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand? Luminous mind is the light of the Buddha and the heart of all things. This ability to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly is latent within the middle bit of our spinal cord, known as the sympathetic nervous system. Every time we inhale, we have evolved to access it automatically. The ability to relax and release is latent to our parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the very bottom and the tippy top of that same spinal cord. Those two extremes have a fancy name, our parasympathetic nervous system, and we have evolved to access that during each exhalation. So the real question is not how do we force ourselves to notice and release. The real question is how do we stop actively competing against our own autonomic nervous system? The answer is simple. Every time we inhale, every time we feel our chest swell with air, all we got to do is silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Oopsie. And every time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the verb rest. Do this every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, you could master the Buddha's path. So luminous mind inexpressible beyond ideation, as the light of the teacher is extolled by all. Just as a description of food or a photograph of food does no good for those who are starving, similarly, Neither superstitious blind faith nor pseudo-intellectual explanations are required. You don't need a PhD. Remember, in the second to the last passage of the Buddha's discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, he assured us that we could master his path in as suddenly as 7 days. The Buddha's path, when done correctly, is easy. As the light of the teacher is extolled by all, the purpose of the outer teacher is to help us find the inner teacher. Our inner teacher is simply our natural and effortless awareness and release. The more we practice awareness and release, the more our choices, utterances, and deeds could flow, not from contrived calculation, nor from wild scatteredness, but instead from centered spontaneity. As the heart of experience is the gentle prince, resting in the spontaneous pleasure of effortless perfection. There's nothing we have to push away. There's nothing we have to reach for. We are already wired to notice and to rest. And so whatever comes up, whether that which comes up is external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque, that's the path. And our job is simple. We notice and we relax. That's it. So now that I've given you the explanation, I'd like to review that first verse in its entirety. Luminous mind is the light of the Buddhas and the heart of all things. Luminous mind is inexpressible beyond ideation, as the light of the teacher is extolled by all. As the heart of experience, it is the gentle prince that is a nickname for the archetype of Manjushri. That's the orange Buddha we see with a flaming sword of wisdom that slices through delusion. As the heart of the experience, it is the gentle prince, resting in the spontaneous pleasure of effortless perfection. As we relax into our exhalation, all that we perceived, emoted, intended, thought, remembered, and imagined during our previous inhalation could feel as if it melted into the simplicity of simply mental energy. That's a fun place to stop. Having completed my opening lesson, let us shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semte Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Which is the best position for us to sit? That which is most sustainable for our body and our mind, which gives us the most comfort and lucidity. The fifth enlightenment factor is tranquility. However, the free fall of meditation can trigger our controlling tendencies and exacerbate our stress. An easy solution to that is to practice a variation of Bengali crease counting. We could rest the tip of our left thumb upon the lowest set of creases of its little finger, and thus keep track of our first set of 16 inhalations. We can now rest this left hand palms up in our lap. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this as we inhale, we can advance our right thumb. Up the creases and tips of each of its fingers. Together, let us practice for the next minute or so. Clearly, I've run out of places upon which to rest my right thumb. Therefore, this is an ideal opportunity to advance my left thumb. And now you get the basic idea of how we can count 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. Doing so takes a little more than 20 minutes. Most people wish to meditate more than 20 minutes, if not immediately, then eventually. And so we could keep track of 3 collections of 20 minutes each. To keep track of our first collection, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap, while simultaneously counting sets and inhalations. Palms up in our lap. Now, this could feel overwhelming. The antidote to overwhelm is the brute force technique of repetition. Practice with me once every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, you could find you've mastered the Buddha's path. You could find you've mastered the Eightfold Path, the 7 Enlightenment Factors. The 4th Enlightenment factor is joy. Most of us want joy. We don't know how to access joy. That's what's brought us to meditation. Here's the hack. Let us consider our right hand. If we wanted to, as we rest the tip of our right thumb upon its little finger's lowest set of creases, we could fleetingly notice the corners of our mouth. And as our thumb comes to rest upon the second set of creases, we could subtly notice the apples of our cheeks. And as our thumb comes to rest upon the third set of creases upon its little finger, we could notice, fleetingly just notice, the crow's feet of our eyes. This can give our nervous system the leverage it needs to remember to gently and effortlessly and subtly smile. During the remaining 13 inhalations, our body could remember to sit a little taller. During the remaining 13 exhalations, our body could again relax. It is the inhalations capacity for us to fleetingly sit tall that helps us to access the third enlightenment factor of subtle energy. You are not in this alone, and this is not a canned presentation. I'm not a Disneyland animatronic fellow. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist or Taoist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions every 5 minutes or so. These questions can also pertain to Mahamudra or Dzogchen, although all of them, regardless of their labels, regardless of the ravings of the elite, are exactly the same. There was a famous teacher who was so excited to tell his students to smile that he had them smile on the in-breath and he had them smile on the out-breath. He forgot to tell them or remind them to relax. And consequently, those students never understood the wisdom of letting go. Let us not become slaves to the smile, something we play with less than a quarter of the time. The most important thing is to notice whatever comes up, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, known as the passive investigation that is the second enlightenment factor. This mindfulness occurs during our inhalation, where our air naturally coalesces in our chest the sixth enlightenment factor. Do not be shy. When your body begins to express discomfort, honor that and make the adjustments you need. For I can tell you from firsthand experience, there is no spiritual advantage in the cultivation of arthritis. Aha, questions. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to tap button 8. Okay. So, Oil Pinter, and if I mispronounce that, I mean no disrespect, wrote, "Before the second pass of the first round, off to the places of the in-between, witness the plasma, witness the teal green orb of healing, so many visitors of religious fields of old orthodox." I suddenly snapped back and then proceeded again. So many things, saw the blast of a trumpet, oracle of Delphi, and even Salacious B. Crumb arrived. That sounds familiar. Is that a reference to a movie or a book? Misunderstood creature, but could make a good guardian for a human. So, it seems like you have a gift, a flair for the literary, and a gift for metaphor. That's great. But I do not see a question here. And so I invite you to use the, what's it called? The chat window for questions pertaining to Taoism, Buddhism, Dzogchen, and Mahamudra. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours, I would very much like to return to today's second session of Meditating Like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.